Few automotive brands have longer history in South Africa than Ford, and the blue oval has been synonymous with transport ever since the days of the Model T. Now, a lot has changed in 97 years though, and here to tell us more about the Ford Motor Company of today is Neil Hill, MD of Ford Motor Company South Africa, and Maya Smith, Customer Experience Manager. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely wonderful to be with you today. Thanks for the opportunity.
Fantastic, fantastic. So can you tell us a bit more about what's happening in the Ford of today?
So, as you rightly said, Ford Motor Company has had a very long history in South Africa, and let's go back a little bit. Ford Motor Company started 117 years ago in the US, and very proudly to say that Ford South Africa started 97 years ago.
Sure.
And it's something that we're incredibly proud of. But I think that when you look at Ford in South Africa, we're looking to establish ourselves as a company that exports vehicles from South Africa and sends them all across the world.
And I mean, you've got a lot to be proud of, and having been actually gone to the factory myself, and I think I had the pleasure of playing around and putting together some grab handles for the Wild Track. So hopefully I did a good job. I hope so.
Yeah, would have heard about it otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a fantastic experience, and I think it's just a great way for people, for journalists and for people in general to get an appreciation of how difficult it is to work on the production line.
100%. No, I for one can attest to that, having been there myself and gotten involved. On a lighter note, what would you guys say are your favorite products? I saw you coming in as well, and I know what you drive, but I'm gonna rather ask you this question and say, what is your favorite Ford at the moment, both yourself, Neil, and Maya?
Well, let's go. Maya, you first.
So we were just having this conversation with one of your colleagues,
yes.
And while I love the Ranger,
Yes.
I find it a challenge to park in a Sandton Mall environment.
Oh yes, because everything is sardines.
Beeping, exactly, I can just not hear the beeping and drive through pillars, which has happened before.
Oh no.
So I do actually love the EcoSport. I think it's small, it's zippy, it's big enough to still carry a family and all the luggage and the shopping, and you can park it.
Yes.
So my perfect garage would probably be a 3-car garage.
Okay.
So there would definitely be a Raptor in it, which is currently my drive car.
Yes,
my daily driver, which I absolutely love, and I find every excuse to go and play on dirt roads. The other vehicle that I would have, of course, would be a Mustang.
Yes.
So the 5-litre Mustang with a 10-speed auto gearbox is sensational.
Yes.
And then, of course, it would be my wife's car. She loves her Cougar.
Yes.
But I think also an Everest would be in her future in terms of a vehicle that she'd be driving as well.
That makes a lot of sense, and I must say, as a journalist, driving a Mustang, you get supercar attention.
Yes,
Every single person stops you and says, give it a rev, and I mean, with that 5-litre now, with those sports exhausts, absolutely incredible. Obviously, we know we have to talk about the bad stuff. COVID-19. This year has been a very tricky year for many manufacturers, including Ford, I can imagine. But what steps did Ford take, obviously, to mitigate the risk of the spread of the virus, for the employees and for the communities in which Ford operates in?
So COVID-19 certainly threw curveballs at us, and they're unprecedented in terms of the challenges that we faced. Ford Motor Company really stepped in, and we reached into our global footprint as a starting point. So we were able to see what was happening in China right from the get-go before it even started spreading to other markets and other areas of operation. And we took the decision over a weekend, starting on the 13th of March, we took 215,000 people out of our offices globally.
Wow. Sure.
So Friday, everybody was at work. Monday, the message went out, come to work, pick up your stuff, go home, work from home. We've been working from home ever since.
Oh, wow.
But then we also looked at what was happening outside of just the Ford Motor Company world, and we started looking at how we can help the communities around us. So there were donations that we made through the Ford Fund to the Ujani clinics. We made vehicles available to various charity organizations. So we've really looked at this holistically in terms of how we can do it. And then one of the other steps that we did is we converted a section of our facility into producing face shields and proceeded to build 285,000 face shields.
Incredible.
So fantastic.
No, I mean, I can honestly agree. It's such an incredible thing for your brand to take care of customers like this and to go out of its way to really take care of its social responsibility. And even myself as a journalist, I also received one of those face shields. We're out in the open all the time, doing what we do, and it was actually quite good because we got that from Ford South Africa. So we must thank you for that. But obviously there are other campaigns that you've been quite involved with as well, especially on the customer experience side. And obviously we've got Maya with us here speaking about the Ford for South Africa campaign. So can you tell us a bit more about this customer focus initiative?
Sure. So it's actually more than a campaign. I think it's a new way of us doing business. And we started it a couple of years ago when I suppose we recognized that perhaps from a customer experience and customer centricity point of view, we weren't where we should be. So we spent a lot of time speaking to customers. We spent a lot of time speaking to our dealers and listening to them, because the dealers at the end of the day are the conduit to our customers. So if we can't satisfy and serve our dealers, they're unable to do the same for our customers. So we have done a lot of work and invested a lot of money and resource on improving the ownership experience. And for us, that's not about putting a bow on a car or putting mints on a dashboard. It's about figuring out what's really important to customers in terms of owning the car. And we thought, let's start with the worst that can happen to you, which is a breakdown in a relatively new car. So we put a couple of new systems in place that are enabling us to find out the minute a Ranger customer breaks down. We put a full team in place to take care of that customer from beginning to end, all the way from sending security to wait with them at the side of the road if they feel unsafe, having a like-for-like loan car available the minute they get to the dealership, and hopefully resolving their concern in less than a week. This is still a pilot project that we're hoping to roll out to the rest of all car owners, so it's not only Ranger customers from next year. We've also put a couple of systems in place that just give us alerts when cars are in dealerships for longer than they should be. So the minute a car is in a dealership for longer than 4 days, we sit together as a cross-functional team, including Neil and various other departments, twice a week and discuss these cases of cars standing for longer than 4 days. Because a car is not just a car. A car is a part of our life. It's an extension of our personality. Sometimes it is a part of our ego.
Yes.
It is integral in our family life, right? And sometimes it's also integral, particularly for Range in our work life. So we've really changed our mindset internally at Ford to not just talk about VINs, but to talk about customers.
Very true. And I mean, it's that whole notion that I think makes it quite special, that you're investing so much in the customer. And not only the customer, but in South Africa in general. And we look at over the last 10 years, Ford has invested over 11 billion rand, which really tells us that you guys are proud supporters of South Africa. So what's next after that?
So, we're looking at our future with a lot of optimism. We believe that we've got a gift that we can give back. So we've continued to look for ways that we can invest. We've recently just invested 138 million rand into the wheel and tire facility. And basically that is there to put, and it sounds very arbitrary, but to put tires on wheels and move them into the facility.
Okay.
But that is really to streamline the process. And when you're building 30 cars an hour, that kind of stuff, it can become quite complicated, and you want to make sure that you get the right wheel on the right car. But that's just one of the many projects that we're looking at. So we've got great plans in terms of how we aim to expand, focusing your attention on Ranger, which is the backbone of Ford South Africa, but it's a vehicle that's perfectly suited to South Africa.
No, that's very good to hear. And I mean, if you see on the road, every second car you see is actually a Ford Ranger. So you're very right.
So.
So Neil, Maya, thank you so much for joining us today. It's very nice to talk about what's going on within the Ford brand and also what's going on within South Africa as well, and how you're playing a major role in that. So thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing what Ford has got for us in the coming future.
Thanks for having us.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and look forward to seeing more Fords on the road.